Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Backyard Barbecue podcast. This is the actual first episode of the relaunch. I've been gone for about 2 years. Just trying to get things together. As you can see, kind of a different background here as opposed to when we were in the salon. Had to get kind of my own space so that I could vibe in. It's a little hard to vibe in somebody else's space. But I like it here. We're gonna do a lot of episodes here. We're gonna have some fun, good laughs, maybe sometimes a couple of tears, but we're gonna try to keep them down to a minimum. So, in the relaunch, I also have some episodes that are audio only for those of you who are on the go. This episode, the live episodes will also be on the audio versions, but the Backyard Barbecue podcast, typed out like that, for barbecue word, is on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, any major podcast platform that you could think of, we're on there. So I already have been recording those episodes for the last month. So those of you who are already subscribers, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the comments and the emails that you guys give me. They help a lot in developing new topics for you all each week. So I have been doing them once a week. Starting this week, I'll be putting 3 out during the week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then on Sunday, we'll have a live version as we are now. Also, I have a affiliate marketer now, which is Mexi. So for those of you who are not familiar with Mexi is a trading platform where you can trade crypto futures. A lot of people are familiar with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are some of the more popular platforms. Mexi has probably over 1,000 different future coins for you to trade. I've been trading on there for a while. It is a good platform just to, I have my kids on there. You can get them started with as little as $5 and, learn how to trade within the market. There are people that are making thousands of dollars every day from it. So that description is going to be in the link. And so we will progress to the guest that we have today, which is Dr. Kres. And I will allow her to introduce herself to you all so that I don't mess up any of her long credentials.
Don't do that.
I had missed like one, and our correspondent, she was like, "And you forgot." So I'll let her go ahead, Dr. Kres.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and engage in this little cool conversation we're going to have today. But yeah, I am Kres Snyder. I am by trade a clinical therapist. We're going to keep it simple. We're not going to go into a bunch of titles and stuff. I am a certified...
Now we're not. Okay.
I am a certified sex therapist. I did my master's and doctoral work originally in clinical psychology, and then I am currently going for a second doctorate in clinical sexology. And that's really the important stuff. Like, I run 2 practices. I have a group therapy practice out in Homewood, Illinois. I have about 15 men and women therapists who work for me, and then I have a private sex therapy practice. Easy peasy.
No, we gonna
easy. That's it. That's all we need right there.
We about to break this
That's all we
down
need.
in pieces because she tried to make it seem like it was just like 4 or 5 things. Like, first off, I wasn't even aware until she just said it. She said that she's about to get a double doctors. So you went to school after you had regular school,
Yes.
and then went for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And then you went for another
Yeah.
long ass time.
Yeah, here I am again.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's some dedication, man.
Yeah, you want to be good at your craft. You want to, I like, it's real humbling that people let me in their life, and I want to make sure what I'm doing has meaning. Black people don't go to therapy. Like, that's not a thing.
That's true.
So if I got you, then I need to do it right, because I don't need you going, man, that shit was bad. Like, I ain't going there no more like that. And then we gonna tell everybody too it was bad. And so
Right.
then I done lost all the other people that I want to help. So yeah, it's just best I just know it all in my areas, and then they come to me, and then I fix them, and they like say therapy great, and more Black people go to therapy. That's it right there. That's the goal.
Gotcha. Because I've been actually having some podcasts about people that need to be going to therapy.
Everybody should have a person.
And that's my thing. Like, we all go through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, the key to me is you're gonna get therapy one way or the other, either through your friends or your person, like you said, or through a professional.
Mm-hmm. It's not quite the same, but yeah, I get.
Yeah, it's not. Of course, it's not the same.
Different.
Because she want our money, so it's not the same.
No, it's not. Your friends they're biased. Everyone around you is biased, and it holds meaning, and they only can carry and contain so much of your stuff. So
Right.
It would be better to have someone. Here we go. My couples that come to me, they're in each other's care. Not my business, not my monkey, not my circus. In the end, like, I don't hold any of it. It don't sit with me. It don't matter what happened. Like, I want y'all to win. I want y'all to thrive. If you don't, okay, you don't. I have no stake in the game other than to try to help, because y'all chose each other. Like,
Right.
that's who you chose. So your friends, however, come in with, like, they got to pick a team, they got to pick a side. They could have had a bad day, and now their bad day is affecting, like, and they, but I really like your husband. He cool. You sure you don't want to, like, talk to him about it? Because now they feelings
Right.
involved. It's not the same.
See, I guess I'm just not that type of friend. Like, I don't have a side. Like, I'm on the side of truth, and it don't matter who it is, and how long I've known them, or if I just met them. It's just at the end of the day, because see, I come from a place, and so my place, the place that I've come from, and those watching, they probably all know my place, but I don't have the luxury of being fake with myself for 1 second, and because it's almost like it'll be the equivalency of a crackhead just going to kick it at the crack house, but they have no intentions on smoking crack. The likelihood is probably that you're going to get a little whiff, a little puff. And so I stay out of that zone. And so for me to stay out of that zone, I have to not only keep it real with myself all the time, but I have to be keeping it real with my friends. And so it's never been a situation where I care about their feelings, but I don't.
But it's also like just your own space. Let's assume it's not about you helping someone else, but just knowing that there is a space that's dedicated only to you for whatever you want it to be. And most people, we really don't have, like, even when we go to our spouse, like, we got to first, like, how are you doing?
Right.
You okay? Okay, I can bring you my shit now. Okay, cool. Let me make sure, because I didn't know how your day was.
That's true.
You don't have to care, like,
Right.
about my day. Your therapist's day don't matter to you.
Yeah.
You know this space is your space to do whatever you want with it, and it's free, and you can legit be as authentic to yourself and really let some stuff come up and really move through stuff, because no one is judging. No one nothing happens here. You don't have to account for anything. And yeah, I don't know. Everybody should have one. Like,
Now, how was that for you? Like, because it's almost like you carry the burden of and I don't know if it's carry the burden because I don't want to be talking crazy because some of your clients might be listening to this.
That's fine. My clients are often on my pages. I encourage them to come and learn.
Okay, well,
open book.
when they leave, you might not even care about what's going on until the next session and you get ready to talk to them again. But how was that in turn like? Because I know how it is sometimes listening to some of my friends and their problems, I'd be like, oh God.
Exactly.
So
you're not trained to do it. All the more reason.
Right.
Why
so do you have to go talk to somebody after you talk to some of these people?
I have no, not because of clients, just because, again, everybody should need to have a person. I'm a part of everybody. I want my own person too.
Okay.
But no, I never need to talk client stuff. I don't. I've been in this game for a couple decades now.
Okay.
So my ability to kind of stay distant and not internalize and how to hold my frames and boundaries is like pristine levels of greatness at this point. So it's a lot easier. So no, client stuff is never my stuff anymore. But I do balance it with it was a period when like fighting was like teenagers and girls like, well, World Star, is that what it was?
Right.
Like they was airing every fight that ever happened known to man. It was like a lot of them in one period. So I don't watch fights or like trauma things. Like you'll never catch me watching the video. Like I do enough work that's heavy that even though I'm not taking it with me, what I won't do to myself is add on the heavy world stuff. I chose heavy client stuff. I won't add nothing to it though.
I agree. I was telling some friends not too long ago. I have a little group of friends and we talk regularly, but I was telling them that like your social media pages, they all operate off of algorithms. Mm-hmm. And in turn, I feel like that our brains do as well. I'm not a real big religious person, but I believe strongly in energy. And so whatever it is that you feed yourself is almost like the old saying, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And so like how you mentioned the videos, like I never get those type of videos because I don't watch that stuff either, and so those, if something pops up, is because somebody, and I also don't really have friends that, share that type of stuff. Like every blue moon, it might be somebody, that.
I mean, it's also media. When the Memphis beating came out, and they knew we was going to be releasing the video. Of all of the,
it's an anticipation of the.
Yeah, I literally was saying like on every platform, they were like, do not click on this. Don't none of y'all go open this video. Like it's trauma. What I call trauma porn. Like that's what I call all of it. It's just trauma porn to me. But yeah.
And it makes you numb at a certain point, it's
just trauma. That's what trauma does, the numbing. It's a symptom of trauma.
Yeah.
Right there. And yeah, so I avoid the trauma porn at all costs.
So I'm gonna move on to what everybody is probably anticipating.
Are we here for sex?
Top. Yes. So
yay, let's get ready. Let me fix my hair. Okay.
So people want to. So you deal with a lot of couples.
Yeah.
That's Kels. Kellen Marshall. Anyway, she knows you.
Oh, okay. Hey. More people I feel like know me. Or maybe I just need to see their face, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's my girl. Okay.
Right. Hey, Kels. So when it comes to sex, especially between
two people.
Well, yeah, two people.
Two people. Mm-hmm. Or three people.
Hey.
Or any number of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Let's be open here.
I should have brought Candace in here. This is right down that lane. But anyway, a lot of people. So let's start from the scratch.
Okay.
So you have a couple, and these two humans have been together for a while, and so
They got to be together for a while in this scenario, as we.
maybe not.
Okay.
So they've been together, and maybe the one has just been a little bit more experienced than the other one, and the sex is just not that good to maybe one of the partners anymore, and so they're wanting to introduce more things, whether it's an additional person to the bedroom, or whether it's some kinky shit, or whatever. So how does one start that conversation?
Well, that's such a broad. So we need to know about pleasure, about do we understand what's happening with each other's bodies, what type of desire do we have, more responsive or more spontaneous. We need to look at
this double doctorate shit, y'all.
It's so many things we need to look at. We need to look like we have what's called like a dual accelerator model, where it's kind of like, especially when we talk about women with vulvas or people with vulvas. Vaginas is what people like to only refer to, that one part, but the whole thing would be a vulva.
Okay.
So vulva owners tend to have what we look at like an accelerator and braking system. So we need to know like what makes that person like accelerate and like want to have sex and want to engage in desire, and then what also makes them like step on the brakes and go no. So of course, if we stepping on the brakes, then I ain't getting wet, or I'm gonna say no, I got a headache, even though sex cures headaches. But we gonna have a lot of things come up when our braking system is activated. So it's really about, before I even want, or maybe it's some trauma stuff coming up, maybe it's some things happening in the union that's creating conflict and making it where we then are making sex like this negotiable thing that we don't want to do. So it takes more than just going, sex is bad, but why? Like, and also, is it like just a good old linear model of sex? Are we talking, well, his penis was hard, and so, now I'm supposed to give some head, and now we're supposed to have sex, and then you come, and I guess it's over. That's probably actually pretty bad sex.
Right.
That's really bad sex. Like, that is guaranteed to have bad sex. So, because it just could be really bad for a lot of reasons. Like, maybe the head is bad, because we know women fairly, we got what, 3/4 of women who don't even come from vaginal penetration. So
right.
Here we are with all these penis owners talking about, it's all about their penis, and it's not. It's actually not at all about the penis. And so who's saying the sex is bad and what's happening? Is we would have to get into like all of those pieces.
So it's a whole session.
It's a lot of sessions. Hence why sex therapy is important.
That's why I got to convince her to come back here a few times, because we got this ain't gonna be enough for our podcast. It's a lot of people want to ask you a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm here for all the questions. I'm gonna try to give really quick answers too. But to also say, let's just say we went over all of that stuff, and we are at the point to where, we want the infamous threesome. That is the most sought after, fantasized thing. It is literally still the number one thing in terms of fantasy and all the research. The conversation, it depends on who's offering the conversation. So if the woman,
definitely, that
it really, who want this thing.
Right, because 9 out of 10 times we really don't want to ask,
and they don't. Like, if this is a traditional monogamous couple, which is important, we have to really delineate between monogamy and non-monogamy, like in these conversations, because they're very different conversations. But traditional monogamous couples, whether it's heterosexual, homosexual, any type of as long as it's monogamy, it really matters the sexual orientation of the people, because that really kind of expels like both people, and that's so heterosexual. Hell, even two lesbians might go, we want to have this thing, but what does this thing mean? Like, what's gonna happen to us? Like, what's gonna, you gonna like them more? You gonna want them more? Like, it's a whole bunch of pieces. So we really have to make sure the couple can handle a third.
Right. Is that a topic that people come in to you?
Oh yeah. Well, I traditionally work with more non-monogamous couples.
Okay.
What we consider ethical non-monogamy, or just I have a lot of polyamorous couples.
Okay.
So no, threesomes are easy.
Right.
That's all.
Let's get back to the one-on-one is the problem.
Yeah. That's it. That's your problem. Like, that's not our problem. We had one of those last night, but we here today because.
Right.
So no, that's not it. But traditionally, if we're talking about a heterosexual couple, it is important if the orientation of the woman, because is she gonna be a pillow princess and lay there? Like, do she want to join in? Like, how? Like, what is that person willing to do? I'm gonna say this, and I'm biased. Don't have no rules. If y'all gonna bring this third person in. Like, either y'all gonna bring this person in and y'all gonna have fun and just go for broke and just do it all, or you gonna restrict
either keep
this
doing
thing.
it or don't do it no more after that. But
don't restrict it and tighten it. Don't diss, don't kiss, don't touch, don't look, make me last. Like, don't if she moan too loud, don't diss, don't have it. Then
right.
Talking about it's just gonna be a bad.
It's just it's a bad experience once you add all that into it.
Bad experience if you start adding in all these rules. So my only advice is really talk about, like, are we strong enough? First of all, like, can we, like, even lifestyle couples, you have swingers who literally can go, like, it's like going into a bubble, like in this new world. Like, on third Friday of the month, we go over here. We go swing from the trees, whatever we want to swing from the trees with, and that's it. And then we go home, and that's the end of it. Like the world's not necessarily even blended. Like, we just went on the third Friday, we had a great time, and we get in the car. You have a good time. It was cool. I didn't really, a little bit had some, It was okay this month.
Bring it back up into the
and then
second
that's it.
Saturday.
And then we go back, and that's it. We go again next.
Right.
See you again next month when we go back again. And that's it. And that's like it is ways to do it safely, and make it fun. But the couple needs to be strong enough.
I think that plays a lot. I mean, because even in my own experience, like it's stages to it. Because. You got two people, especially in a marriage situation. Like you said, did you like it more than you?
Yeah.
And like you really just don't want to be answering no questions.
But that question in secure relationships, that question wouldn't come up, because let's talk about what we call compersion. Like, I want, I am. Anyone knows me, I believe I am ethically non-monogamous, and so I want to see my partner. In my mind, you better show out, and you better have fun, and you better make them scream. So the neighbors can hear it. Like, is that who's singing that song? Do the neighbors know my name? They better know your name.
Yeah.
Like, so because I want my partners to have the ultimate level of pleasure. Like, I want everyone to have pleasure. So, in that idea of, did they moan? Listen, what was happening with you? You was a little lack, a little.
Right.
I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't
you threw
feeling,
me off.
Yeah, what you was doing there. What was going on? Like, you really want, like, I want my partner to have relationships that feel good, that bring pleasure. I mean, because pleasure is the point in all of this. And so that needs to be, like, the guiding thing. Like, are we engaging in pleasure for each of us? Like, are we responsible for our own pleasure? And I don't recommend doing one for the team. If you don't want to do this, it's not going to be good.
Do it. Right.
Don't do it.
Okay. Switch gears a little bit. You also deal with adolescents.
I do.
Okay.
The practice does. My group practice does. Unless we're talking about, like, out of control. The only way I personally step in if it's, like, out of control, like acting out sexual behaviors or things like that. Otherwise, my group practice, one of my staff who loves the kids will do the kids.
Okay, so you're not really for the kids. You for the
for
the kids, but not you.
If it is like sexually acting out, again, I do focus in my specialty. I am an AASECT certified sex therapist, and so I tend to hover and play only in that realm. Is what I've done all this work. It's why I'm getting a whole nother doctorate degree is to play in the world of sex. But I do have 15 very competent therapists who can do all of that good, traditional work.
Okay. So,
But I can speak about it. I am by trade a therapist.
Okay. So, what would, because for years, before probably the last 10 to 15 years, I'm assuming, the quote unquote phrase coming out was just not a thing, it was like my uncle is probably 70, but ever since I can remember, he's been a gay man. And but back then it wasn't a thing, it was like he stayed on the north side, and unless I went up there, then I didn't see him. And
yeah, for sure,
it was like a cutoff, with the family, and it was weird.
Yeah.
So with now, obviously things are a lot more open. There's
my
more
queer shirt.
Yeah,
that's queer.
Yeah. More diversion, or not diversion. Diverse thinking.
Okay, a little bit.
What's the proper word I'm looking for?
I mean, I hear
inclusion.
We fake inclusive.
Okay,
I hear you though.
Well, let's talk about that.
I hear you a little bit.
What's the areas that we need to?
All of it. I mean, yes. This. I love what. Gen Z, all the new letters. Whatever's after the millennials down. They are really. I don't. All the groups after millennial, and even millennials had the end of millennial had a pretty good contribution here in terms of emotions and feeling and speaking and owning like where they are and what they doing and quitting the job after 3 days. Like they're like, I don't like it, I'm out. Like this ain't make me happy. I don't want to be here. So I really, I like a lot of it, for sure. It does not change the numbers. It does not change discrimination, the factors related to money and disparity. There, it does not change, and I hear it, and it don't change. I mean, let's look at Florida, and they making it clear you better not say a word about being gay nowhere in nothing. The laws are not still skewed in any capacity towards the LGBTQ plus population. They just aren't, and I don't want to get into a war about black people don't got no rights either. Okay. No, this is I am black first. I understand that.
It does sometimes go there.
It go there real quick. I'd be like, oh dang, I'm gonna go. Like, I don't even want to do this one. There's nothing here.
That's because you're a little bit on the light skin side, so they don't really know.
That's true, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, but It doesn't change right now. What we are in this area, the area we're talking about, it doesn't change that it's still rough. You are still likely to be assaulted. You are more it's still a lot of pieces that just go into it. That yes, we are. There is more acceptance amongst themselves. The acceptance is not moving though from the outer community into those in the community. It's like, yeah, my son might gonna have a gay friend. That's between them. Now ask about the grandmama accepting that gay friend. If can my friend come over? No, baby, that friend ain't right. Friend ain't go to church. It's not. It's just. I mean, I see jokes about pronouns and, it's just still.
You know how I feel. And don't make sure this.
Make sure the table don't. So I'm sorry flipping tables. I'm ready. Good. Go ahead, go for it.
So this is my perspective. Like, I've never had a problem with how anybody has chosen to live their life. That's your life. you know, I don't have to account for it, and I don't want you talking to me about what I'm doing with mine. And so, but I think, and I could be the only one that thinks like this, but like for me, I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Me too.
And so,
come on now, get to it. Say it.
So
You're playing with these words.
For the longest time, you didn't see any gay people on the south side of Chicago.
Because they'd be killed.
Right. And so you was used to seeing them up north, and then, you know, maybe one day you was driving and you was like, oh, a gay man. Or,
You'd be shot, which is crazy.
Yeah. Like the women, well, I don't want to offend nobody. I ain't going to say no names. But, and then it became, you know, more saturated. Like you can drive down probably, you know, a lot of streets now out south and see, you know.
Let's go backwards a little bit. We have women for ages, like old women who was like besties forever living together. They were gay.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we knew what that was.
Okay. Men, like, how did we come up with men in like these places? Like, we just because we didn't come out, we're not no more saturated or no more gay than we've ever been. We just say it out loud.
Right. See, my thing is so like you said, let me just kick it all out. So I don't have a problem with anybody doing what they're doing, but it almost feels like being attacked now in a sense. Like when you say that you're straight, they be like, "What?" Like, Nick, like you straight? Like it's like it's almost a crime to be straight now. You know.
I don't know where. Like I've heard this before, but I only feel like I only hear straight people talking more about gay issues than I hear gay people talk. We don't got this much to say.
But that's because see,
we be sitting there, I be like, this ain't even my issue. How is this your issue? Why are you in this fight today?
What you know what happened? It is? You know what I think it is that the education on it, not that it's not in the world, but it's not present and in the face of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so when you're not educated on something and then you begin to ask questions about, you know, okay, so, you know, is this? For like sure. I was riding down the street with my uncle one day. We was coming from Tilly's and he was like, and I apologize ahead of time if I offended anybody. He was like, "Oh, honey, I can't stand no fag." And I looked at him and I'm like, "You a fag?" And I'm like, he's like, "No." And so he broke down the difference, you know, and, you know, this flamboyancy. And I'm like, well, you know, to me, it's all the same, you know, like at the end of if y'all all get.
In every, amongst blacks, we got the lights and the darks. You know, you say I'm a little light skinned. So there will always be, you know, you from the west side, from the south side. Like, well, like I'll tell you, I'm on the west side. You can't get me on the west side. It's scary over there. Like,
right.
I don't west side on no day of the week. Like, so we go, like, I don't do them. I've said I don't like niggas. I love black people.
Right.
I don't like niggas. Like, and so we always got comments. Like, I want us to be clear. Like, it's not like there's not intergroup shit that doesn't come up or that we don't have ways in which we have biases or concepts about how we should be or like what side we on again, light skin, dark skin side, like what team you on. Like we've always done that. So I don't know why it's all of a sudden like it's okay then that any group does it. Like it's all the same. We just somehow keep taking like the gays and then like extrapolating it into something way bigger.
That's because like people don't be having answers. Like I was having this conversation. I have a female friend that's a lesbian, and we talk all the time about the topic. And like I explained to her one time that when you go and you ask a gay person a question, a legitimate question about something, because you're ignorant to it. You're straight. So
sure.
you don't know anything about the community.
For sure.
So you ask this question, it'd be like, why would you, oh, you're homophobic. No, I'm not. I'm asking a question. I don't know the rules to this shit. You know, like, you don't know what to say and what not to say.
For sure.
You know, it's like when you think about it, it's the how white people come to us. You know, like, is it okay if I, bring some fried chicken to the barbecue? You know, and you'd be like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, we're probably not gonna eat it because you ain't got no seasoning on it, but you could bring it. But for us to get mad at them for asking is that's the problem. And then I think after that, then it becomes a bigger problem for the straight people.
So I think I see both sides. Mm-hmm. I see there is one side where I don't ask straight people about their straightness. It has no relevance to anything in life. Like,
have you always been a lesbian?
Well, I am queer.
Okay.
I do only exclusively date women, but I would still say I'm queer.
But have you?
No, okay. I've dated men.
So you have an understanding on certain stuff.
Oh, for sure, but
so you're biased.
Oh, I'm not biased at all. I'm probably most open to. I don't even know how to be biased.
I'm saying, you said you don't ask straight people about stuff.
I don't.
But you already had the answers because at one point in time you were.
But I don't. My brain has never went, I should ask them why, they straight, or why they like you as a man. Like, why do you like women? Cause you do? Like, who cares? Like, So asking me why do I like women, that's a stupid, like, what does it matter? Why? I'm not asking you, why do you like women? Like, how come you don't take dick? Like, what type of question is that? So asking me, so you really put your mouth down there? What type, it's like, so when we hear certain questions, it's like,
now, those are ignorant questions. I'm talking about the legit ones.
But you get so many, and so this is the other side. You get so many ignorant questions that you are almost so ready to defend immediately anything you hear. Because it's like, okay, where is this going? You about to say one halfway-ass good question, and then all the dumb shit about to come out your mouth right afterwards. Like, you reeled me in, and you got me, and now you're about to insult me, like, real quick. And because that's normally what happens, because most of it doesn't make sense. That the questions that come normally are like, what? Reverse this. Do you want me to ask you these same questions? Like, because the only reason you're asking me is because I am of something that is different from you. Mm-hmm. If I wasn't different from you, you wouldn't have these questions, because you're not asking your other straight friends any of what you're asking me. So why does any of this matter? Like, in real life, and the likely answer is because you have a problem with it. Don't mean you homophobic. I don't want to take us there. But you do inherently, fairly, because culture has told us to have a problem with it. Right. There's a million reasons that we should have a problem with it, fairly. There is a problem with it, and that's something we should own and put in a space that this shit ain't comfortable for you.
Now, I'll ask you a question. Somebody out there probably thinking the same thing, and this is another, out of being a straight man, I don't know the answer. So what is I asked you, had you always been a lesbian? You said, I'm not a lesbian, I'm queer. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference?
The difference in being lesbian and queer?
Right.
Well, I speak for me. Why I don't like any of the words. Let me put that out there. I'm not a need to identify a word. Mm-hmm. Kind of, I'm me. I'm Kres. I like what the fuck I like. Like, when you walk in Baskin Robbins, sometimes you get vanilla, sometimes you get chocolate, sometimes you still get vanilla, but say, something, I want sprinkles today. Right. Like, that's just, you don't got to quantify any of that. But I say I'm queer mostly because I think men are attractive. Like, I can look like, oh, like, that's a handsome human. Mm-hmm. I like I like the essence of guy in a way, like the strength and kind of the some of the stuff that comes with masculinity. I ain't gonna say God, I'm gonna say with masculinity. I just don't intimately like men. Like I'm good on all things sex.
Gotcha.
I would prefer. I'm gonna go over here with the girls.
Just leave that thing.
No, it just ain't my cup of tea. And I have kids. I've had sex with men.
So was it your thing then, or was it
No, I
like
always like girls. And I've always, and even with men, this is funny. Growing up, I can say I've always been like, I would lay and be like, okay, I should go do my groceries, or oh, when is this over? Okay, let me hurry up and do this move real quick that I know gonna make him come, and then it should be over with, and then I can go on about my day. That has normally been my thought with sex with men, and so I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have sex, and then you get to learning like, oh, I don't only have to do this, and this I can stop.
So for the people out there that might be going through this situation, so when you, at what point were you with the men when you decided that, like I'm just about to be me, and and what was that conversation like?
Well, anyone who knows me knows I've always like asked where the line was and then crossed it.
Okay.
I'm a true rebel at heart, but I have always been a very open and curious girl, and I've had friends of all walks of life, so sex workers and swingers and poly people. I've always kind of and slightly been in a world that I didn't know existed until I grew up like, oh, this is a whole community. It ain't a secret thing. It's like a real life thing.
Right.
So it wasn't a surprise to anyone when I was like, yo, yeah, I'm just gonna date women. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, who cares? Like in my life, no one cared.
Okay.
Because they think I'm wild.
The man, he didn't care.
I think a lot of men care.
That's what I'm asking about. Like for the people that might be, because there's some women out there that's in some relationships that probably don't want to be there. They probably want to be eating something or
Yeah, I think pleasure is our birthright.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately, we have the right to walk in that divine energy of pleasure and ethos and desire and fulfillment, and we need to do what that looks like, period. Like, and be unapologetic about it. Like, bad sex to me is the equivalent of bad mental health. Like, you cannot have good mental health if you have bad sex. And I don't just mean the physical act of sex, but just your entire intimate life.
Right.
Like that, everything, like what we know sex does for the body, for mental health, for dental health, for bladder, for organs, for you name it, we know it fixes. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense why you not doing it the way you were born to do it.
Okay.
So yeah, leave them, girl. Leave them. That's my go find your girl.
But how do they do that?
Go find your girl.
I mean, let's just say somebody that's been with somebody for a while. Like what?
So this is where I don't. Like? Again, I'm also poly, so this is where it gets kind of interesting. Unions exist for reasons, and maybe this is a union you don't have to lose. Maybe this is the point of a conversation about maybe our relationship is evolving into this thing here.
Okay. And
this thing over here also is important, and can we make all of that work? So I was joking when I said, girl, leave them, but like, we evolve. I used to be monogamous many moons ago. And I hated it. I cheated. I was like, how come I just can't be with everybody? Like, that was always my thought. Like, why I gotta cheat? How come everybody can't be with me? How come I can't have all these relationships at one time? Like, why do I have to, I
have a theory
be with
about
this
that.
One person right here? Like, and we are not even naturally monogamous creatures. Like, why are we doing this thing here?
I have had so many conversations about, and I'm condense this down real short and quick. But again, I'm not a religious person, but if the story is true, holds for Adam and Eve, then Adam's first commandment was to be fruitful and become many. So nowhere in the Bible did it say that was taken away. So if he was always supposed to be fruitful, then
throughout history, if we actually, until we brought in, man, listen, nothing again. I nothing against religion,
and they said Solomon was like the closest thing, and he had
and did a thing, and them some freaks. Boy, I tell you about them Catholics, but anyway.
That's where it came in. They needed more money.
Yeah, and to the church, the physical church. I'm not going to talk about the faith of a higher being. I'm with the shit. But until the church came in and said it, boy, listen, y'all, we are not naturally. So I don't understand how come we can't, as we evolve and who we are, and hell, maybe the woman who didn't think she ever could like women, but she agreed to have a threesome for her man, and that first time she was like, oh my God, yes. How do I pretend I didn't like this so much because I want her to coming back. And so, and she looked up and she evolved, and now she like, I need a girlfriend. However it happened, good conversations can happen in unions to where they can evolve and they can go from monogamy to non-monogamy. It should be like this linear thing, like this kind of, this spectrum, this continuum of maybe I'm here and we evolve here, but maybe as we get older, we can even slide back because we just choose to, not because we have to, but because we choose monogamy or we choose whatever we're choosing. That would be a better concept to me than this, man and woman, and they get married the end.
Right.
It's just kind of get lost in that
I agree,
concept.
to taper this off, I'm when I restarted the podcast on the audio, like my very first podcast evolved around just getting to know you, because getting to know you is to me like the basis of everything. Like you can't be like before when 2 years ago when we did the podcast, we talked about friends and business topics, but over the course of time during those 2 years of me just listening to different people and having my own thoughts about everything, there's no point in me talking about any of that stuff, business, friendships, kids, all of that stuff, because it all starts right there at the bottom with you. And if you don't learn how to love yourself and you don't know who you are and what you want and what's acceptable for you and what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, then everything else is just fake.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just going through the motions of life, fooling yourself. And the last thing that you want to do is be on your deathbed,
regret.
Yeah. One of the things that I hate that, my mom went through was just not doing, her telling me that she just wished she would have did more, in life and experienced more, and that's just the worst.
If I don't leave here with nothing, pleasure, our birthright. Birthright. You hear me? We need to play in it, we need to play in it and do all the kinky, fun, whatever brings us joy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm not going to hold y'all long. I do want to thank Dr. Kres for coming out here. I'm going to try to get her to come out here a few more times.
Well, because I really want us to one day talk about kink.
Yeah, because I really thought I was going to get to talk about it, but we had, wound up going into another direction with it.
I want to talk about BDSM and kink one day.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
We definitely, even if it's a audio version, I definitely want to have you back out. You have a lot of good enlightenment and thoughts about things.
Oh, thank you.
I respect, once again, your dedication to educating yourself on these topics, because somebody got to do it, and it wasn't going to be me, because I wasn't going to go to school that long to find out how to make y'all get wet.
And I care about her being wet. I care about him too, but
So now that I'm friends with Dr. Kres, I'm just going to call her and be like, hey, I got a question.
And I'll have an answer. You might not want my answer, but I'll be having one.
Hey, that's okay. Well, You all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back here next week with Nidra Crosby from the Insurance Exchange, one of my good friends that I have known for the last 8 going on 9 years. And she'll be on here talking about, we'll be shooting the shits. No telling what might come out of Nick's mouth. So you all stay tuned. I'll be posting that information for next week. And you all have a good week. Be good to each other. I'm not gonna say the famous thing to put the guns down, but I'm sure y'all get the point. All right, talk to y'all.